This episode brought to you by Friday Night Fights, a modern Arthurian podcast of epic proportions. My name is Michael. I've been absolutely fascinated by tabletop role-playing games for the better part of my life, and tonight's top story, wizards are cool again. Welcome to Roll With Me. The world of Monster of the Week is an open sandbox playground of narrative gameplay. It combines sci-fi, high fantasy, anthropology, cryptozoology, and gritty realism to make one of the most eclectic and unique tabletop role-playing games I have ever encountered. Each playbook brings a truckload of lore and flavor that our campaign steeps in like a good cup of chai tea. Today's playbook is no different in this regard, but it brings some complications to the table. This playbook fights fire with magic fire. So put on your robes and open up your grimoires to page 394, because we're talking about the Spell-Slinger.
You're a wizard, Harry.
The Spell-Slinger is a trained wizard wielding powerful magic in their campaign against evil. Now, before we get into it, you might have some questions about the scope and impact of magic in your campaign, and that's fair. By its very nature, magic is virtually untouchable. It can do anything, it can come from anywhere, and it can drive a wedge between a party very quickly if it's not handled properly. After this video, I highly recommend that you check out an earlier episode that I did detailing some of my thoughts on magic and how to use it in Monster of the Week. Okay. Now let's get into it. When building our Spell-Slinger, one of the first concepts we come across is our combat magic. We get to style our wizard with some super cool elemental magic that we get to use in place of a kick-some-ass roll. It's powerful, it's effective, and it's a very cool thing that is unique to the Spell-Slinger playbook. While that sets us up for combat fairly well, sticking to a combat build in this playbook, it leaves a lot of untapped potential on the table. Now, I'm gonna regret saying this because Monster of the Week is not D&D, but think of a wizard in Dungeons & Dragons. Sure, Fireball is awesome and it can do a crap load of damage, but that's barely scorching the surface. If you're looking to play a magical combat machine, try out the Monstrous or the Initiate, but the Spell-Slinger has more important to do. I like to use Doctor Strange as a supreme example of a Spell-Slinger. Sure, he fights a lot, but he spends most of his time reading, researching, divining the future, and growing his magical awareness. If all he did was shoot laser beams at bad guys, we wouldn't be nearly as compelled to follow his story. The moves offered by the Spell-Slinger playbook are varied and eclectic, and powerful in their own right. Don't be afraid to build your character into a magical Swiss Army knife, or just be a combat machine and shoot lasers and fireballs at vampires all day. I mean, that sounds fun too. I'm not here to yuck your yum. Now, let's take a second to talk about just how magic works, shall we? The move all Spell-Slingers are given is called Tools and Techniques. This qualifies how we use our magic. All spells will require a combination of 3 out of 4 concepts: consumable ingredients, a magical focus like a wand, staff, or medallion, obvious physical gestures, and verbal chanting in an arcane language. Now, keepers, this is where we get some agency. A Spell-Slinger's magic requires 3 components for it to function properly. If the character is, say, rendered mute, tied up, away from their component pouch, or loses their wand, their magic will not function properly, and it is up to us to decide just how improperly it functions. This is one of our nerfing devices for a playbook that can get out of hand really quickly. The glitches of magic in Monster of the Week can bring about huge narrative twists and send gameplay sideways when our Spell-Slinger fails a roll. If their magic can do anything to help them out, it can do anything to hurt them. And remember,
all magic comes with a price.
As always, I hope you found this one helpful. Make sure to like this video, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because every piece of interaction goes a long way in helping me create more content like this for amazing viewers like you. And now stick around to find out more about a super cool podcast. When average teenager Arthur Padrone finds out he's the reincarnation of King Arthur of Camelot, he, Merlin, and Lancelot go on a road trip to find the other Knights of the Round Table before danger catches up to them in this comedy fiction podcast. Listen to Friday Night Fights wherever you get your podcasts. Also, if you're in need of some fun, nerdy swag to make your friends around the gaming table jealous, head to WingateTheBrand.com and check out a bunch of stuff I designed, like this line of tarot-inspired tees for the playbooks of Monster of the Week, or this gnarly Eldritch Nightmare hoodie, or this vintage Squatch Hunt tee. Every purchase goes directly to making more and better content for my amazing viewers. And if you feel so inclined, head to my Patreon at patreon.com/MichaelWingate and follow me on my zany musical adventures with some really cool people in some really cool spots.